How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So this is pretty crazy. I can't believe this. It went down this much. Um, so here, what am I talking about? Uh, wow, and it's been only a month. It's been a month. Check this out. Okay, so I did a video on this. This video game at the time was the world record. For an N64 game, right? Mario 64 came out in 1996. A 9.8 sells for $1.5 million, almost $1.6 million. And it's just crazy that something like this would sell for that price. Because if you look at the best selling video games for the N64, look right here, what do we got? We got Mario 64 is the number one selling N64 game. And it sold about 12 million copies. And a lot of copies, they'll sell it to like Toys R Us or wherever, and then they don't sell them, so they either send them back to the distributor or they send them to another company that tries to get rid of them. And so there'll be boxes. Usually they come in about 6 in a distributor box that are untouched because no one bought them. I've watched people on YouTube where they've like shown pictures of I have a complete distributor's box of Mario N64. And basically that's all going to be 9.6s and 9.8s, untouched, right? They never basically went to sale in the store. So there's a ton of these out there, and they just happen to not be graded. I still think there's some fishiness going on with Heritage and their bidding, especially these video games going for 1.5 million. Like comics are barely even, like only a handful can touch this. So watch this, and there's another auction that just ended over the weekend. It's called Golden Auctions. And here it is, Golden Auctions. They have comics, they have video games, they have art, they have all sorts of stuff. But if you look at, they had a Mario 64 sell right here. Same, 988++. Right? 988++. Is it the same game? No. I mean, is it the exact same one? No, it's this one that's also a 9.8. And look what it ended up selling for. Half. It sold for half. This one sold for slightly under 800,000. This one sold for almost 1.6. Half. And this sold July 11th. And this just ended over the weekend. That is insane. Literally, a month later, it sells for half the exact same grade, same everything. Half. That's insane. Now, it started out at 75,000. That was their starting bid, and it had 23 people bid on it, or 23 bids. It could have been the same person bidding multiple times. But let's say there's like 10 or 15 people bidding. Probably a lot of people bid, in the $75,000, $100,000, $200,000 range. But then there's probably only a couple people that bid it up to this, and it only went for 800,000. And they even say right here, it sold 12 million copies by 2003. So what does all this mean? Number one, I think there's something going on with Heritage. And you might think, oh, well, maybe it's just because I've never heard of Golden Auctions. By the way, Golden Auctions was bought by some massive Wall Street company, I believe it was, for millions and millions of dollars. So it's not like they're nobody. They also, in the same auction, they had a 9.6 Avengers number 1 sold for $369,000. And if you look over here, that was a record price. The last one sold for, in June of 2018, one sold for slightly under $200,000. This Pacific Coast, which is, a pedigree copy, sold for $275 back in 2012. It was probably the only 9.6 back then, I'm assuming. But yeah, most recent sale, 3 years ago, one sold for about $200,000. This nearly doubled it, right? So it's not like they just get terrible prices. This book right here was a record in its grade. For an 8.5, it sold for $707,000. That's a record in this grade. So it's not like they get just terrible prices. Look at this one. A Hulk 181 9.8 sells for $87,000. That's pretty much, I think, close to a record, if not the record, probably pretty close, right? So my whole point of why, and this one right here, this is a record price. This one sold for almost 1.5 million in its grade for an 8.0. That was a record price. So my whole point of why I'm saying all this, is to show like, hey, look, they can get top dollar. It's not like, only Heritage can get top dollar, and this other random golden auctions is just going to get like terrible prices. Like, no, it's only on the Mario Kart that everything else went for like record prices or close to record prices. So what does that say? It just says, okay, they can command a good price. But I mean, look at this one. The Sega sells a 9.4, not even 9.8. Sega Sonic the Hedgehog sells for 430,000. This is, a little bit more. So I don't know exactly what that means, to be honest. I don't know if that means that Heritage is bidding their stuff up. Could be, most likely. That's my guess anyways. And these people didn't, or maybe these people did and they only took it so high. Maybe like, well, we want at least 800,000, and then they were the top bidder. No one outbid them. That could be as well. But I think that just shows that, look, when CGC first came out and people were getting stuff graded, there'd be like random Spider-Man, like Spider-Man number 23 or something like that, sells, and a 9.6 sells for, 20-something thousand. It will never hit that again because all of a sudden people are like, ooh, it's worth that much? I have a couple. They send it in. All of a sudden it goes from single highest grade and a 9.6. Now there's 5 and a 9.6 and like, 3 and a 9.8. And then it's just like, it's like whoever like jumps the gun in the beginning is going to get burned, because lo and behold, there's going to be a ton more that starts surfacing. And then before you know it, like obviously they're not going to release population reports because they don't want to. But once other companies start releasing population reports and forcing them to, they'll be like, there's like 20 at a 9.8 or 30 or 50 or 100 at a 9.8. And then all of a sudden this will just drop to like next to nothing. And that's what I think you're going to see happening, is all these prices are going to drop. I think this was also kind of, in my personal opinion, manipulated to get all the news going and people making videos and then, news stations picking it up and talking about it. A game from 1996 is worth 1.5 million. So yeah, is this the end of video game market? No, it's not. It's just I think there's gonna be a time where it's gonna get a rude awakening, where a lot of these things are gonna drop a lot, but then it will find its floor, right? So right now, maybe like if this was like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, this game would have sold for, if they had a 9.8 version of it, maybe a couple thousand, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe. But I think what happened is they shot it up really high, and so you have a high ceiling now, but then it's going to drop. But it's not going to go back to like the $5,000 or $10,000 range. Like when all the dust settles, maybe this book is still $50,000. Maybe its floor is now $50,000 or $100,000. I don't think it's worth 1.5 million, but that's all that's going to happen. So I think, is there going to be a crash? No, not really. I think there's just going to be a lot of video games that are going to take a massive hit because people are way overpaying for them right now, and they need to, because this is a terrible investment. Like, what is the purpose of doing this? Like, if you're a collector and you're like, I love Mario 64, it's my favorite game, and I have all this money and I want to get it. You should know, if you're a collector, that there's multiple of these out there. You should know that. You know that it's not going to be rare for a 9.8. Literally a month later, one pops up. Just think about in like 6 months to a year when all of them come back from grading. So you know that. So then you have to think, okay, maybe it's an investor. That's a terrible, like, you're just going to throw away $1.5 million and then a month later it drops in half? Like, literally, you have better, like, it's like a penny stock. Actually, penny stocks are even better than that. Usually it takes a little while. It's like 50% drop in a month. Yeah, that's insane. And the thing was, this was in preview probably like a week after this one. So people were able to see it for a long time. Maybe even a preview at the same time this one was selling. So, yeah, I think for like video game stuff, you need to you kind of have to like wait this out a little bit unless you can find a good deal. Like I've bought in a couple video games myself, nothing close to this. I'm talking about a couple $100, like $200, $500, stuff like that. Nothing even close to this. But yeah, it's these like top grades or whatever. Yeah, it's just crazy. And it's like, look at Heritage compared to Golden Auctions. Half the price. Either Golden Auction sucks, which I showed you that it doesn't, or Heritage people on there are way overpaying, or Heritage is manipulating the price. That's what it comes down to. So hope you like this video. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'm way off base on this. Maybe there's some things I didn't think about. Yeah, let me know. And as always, link to my website down below, collectorscomics.com, and a link to my music. And have a great day.